Hello, everyone. This is the 53rd episode of Sunny Side with Jeff Walker right there. This is our sports show where we talk about everything. Now we have a sports legend show that we do once a month on Wednesdays, but we do ask people who can't come on Fridays to come on Wednesdays. But this is our main show, and we talk about sports, what's going on, and we want to talk about everything, not just limited to the main sports, but certainly we get into those. But we also talk about things like golf, tennis, soccer. We talk about it all. So if you want to talk sports, come and talk to us. Come on our site. Come on our show. Come talk sports with us. We're going to start out. We're going to talk about football, but I first want to guys, what's going on in golf? Is there anything going on in golf field? Is there anything going on in golf?
No major tournaments I can think of that I've been aware of lately, but golf is always year-round, of course, and the best players play year-round. They play overseas and here too, so maybe next show we'll have a little more about golf going on. Right now I didn't hear a lot. Last time was the Ryder Cup, and that was really interesting.
Darrell, I know you play a little golf.
Play a little golf. One thing I want to talk about with golf is that the cost to enter. So I'm participating in the tournament tomorrow. It's called Golf for Kids. Got 40 kids that signed up to play, and 8 kids have golf clubs.
Wow.
And it's like, where do you go get junior clubs from for kids to play golf? And just understanding that because of that, let's say when we played Little League football, all we had to do was get our own pants. And they weren't expensive per se. But to get golf clubs can be expensive. To get lessons can be expensive. And then that's why you sit around and think about what black guys are playing golf right now professionally.
Okay.
And the numbers are limited. So we got to figure out a way to give back to our kids. Same with tennis.
Yeah.
Just the cost of entry.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have they can start leagues. Do they play golf in high school, guys?
They do. Yeah. So here I've been working with the FCA for 3-4 years, and we do a golf tournament every year. And what's amazing is we do it directly with the FCA chapters from the high schools in Dallas. And sure, you got some black schools, you got some black players, but even those kids, they have the school clubs, but they don't have their own clubs. So I'd actually carry around 5 sets of clubs to let kids borrow to play in the golf tournament, because the tournament was in the summer when school is closed. So,
hey, that's an issue we gotta keep in mind and keep talking about.
Right.
Because we got to bring awareness to it, and we want to bring it, to the attention of our community. That because golf can be lucrative for young men as a pursuit. So that's something that we're gonna talk about. Godfrey, did you want to say anything on that?
Yeah, I played golf for a long time, and now I'm actually in the process of trying to give back to the game that I like to play so well. I used to get up in the morning before the sun would come out and then just play.
So do you like golf more than chess?
I think, it's about a tie right now.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm a little bit better at golf than I am in chess right now.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I'm running into basically the same problems that he spoke of, because now that I'm trying to give back, I see now at a grassroots level, there aren't enough, I would say, different types of equipment that's made available to people who are trying to learn at a very young age. I just connected with one of the guys who is currently at Finnegan Park, and we just spoke recently about how we can put some clubs in some young people's hands, and it's not as easy as coming up with the idea is, but hopefully at some point we'll get a breakthrough and be able to help some young people learn about golf.
Are any of you guys familiar with Fritz Greer? Fritz Greer used to be the athletic director at the South Central YMCA, and he's been teaching golf since the 70s. And he is 80 plus now, and DeAndre is his sponsor. He travels all over the country playing in senior leagues, and that's all he does. And he also has a program. I think his first tee, he's involved with all that stuff here in Houston. And Greer's been teaching it. Anybody that'll listen, anybody that'll learn. He's 80 plus, and he still plays. So that much I do have a connection to golf with him. And if anybody I can put with Greer, they'll be better for it.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's some good information, and we want to follow up on that, and we want to keep talking about ways to help in that particular area. But now we're going to talk about football, the NFL. I just watched the game last night. You had Aaron Rodgers at 40 years old, Joe Flacco at 40 years old, and it was an exciting game. Jeff, you want to talk about some of what's going on in football?
Well, right now, of course, you have the Texans coming off their bye week. That was pretty early in the season to have a bye week. I'm not sure if that was advantageous to them to have that bye week so early in the season. I mean, you would rather have it maybe somewhere around mid-season, but anyway, they had it after 5 games. So now you have 12 more games to play. So anyway, they're coming off their bye week. They're sitting at 2-3 after winning 2 consecutive games after starting 0-3, but they chasing the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are after a 5-1 start. And even the Jacksonville is sitting at 4-2. So the South is going to be tough. The Texans are going to have to really bring it these last 12 games. I think they really need to win at least in these last 12 games. I think they need to win at least 8 of those 12 games to qualify for the playoffs. So right now, that's where we are on that. As far as surprises right now, I thought the Jets would be better. The Jets sitting at 0-6. I thought they would be better than that. Another big surprise will be the Baltimore Ravens sitting at 2 and what's that? Ravens are sitting at 1-5. Oh, who would have thought that? Who would have thought that the Baltimore Ravens would be sitting at 1-5 right now? So that's a huge, huge surprise. So that's what's going on right now. But you got some big games coming up this week. As Houston travels to Seattle, so they really need that win. Houston get that win and go to 3-3. I think that can really, really turn their season around to be sitting on a 3-game winning streak, sitting at 3-3 with 11 games left. So I would like their chances at that point.
Well, yeah, it's always interesting because things can happen. You see Lamar Jackson got hurt, has been out 2 games, and they was already struggling. But he goes out there. That really makes things difficult. What you say about football, Godfrey?
Well, I think that we've had some surprises and obviously some injuries, which can affect any team, no matter how good your team is. To lose a significant person can really be a harsh and cruel thing to a team trying to make the playoffs. I'm not concerned really about the Ravens' ability to bounce back. It's still early in the season. And they do have a quality team. And of course, they'll be having their quarterback to return. What I really want to say is that I think that having the break so early for the Houston Texans is really going to not bode well for them 7 or 8 games from now. They'll need a break by then, but obviously they won't be able to have one. So I think that having, your bye week within the first third of the season really is detrimental to a team that's trying to make a playoff run.
Well, we'll see how that's going to turn out. Interesting things are going on across the board. Derrick Henry is not in the top rushers. He's not even in the top 5, and that is unusual. Dak is up there in high wins, but is Dallas ever going to be a competitive team again? Daryl Malloy, what'd you say?
I'm not a Cowboy fan, but just being here, and to get rid of Micah Parsons was huge. So they're lacking in defense. They're doing well on offense, but they can't score enough points to beat somebody. And so
Right.
that becomes a long-term problem. And I think, ultimately the problem there is ownership. And, to me in professional sports, a lot of it is based on ownership. These guys make so much money. It's not about winning. I've sold all the seats I can sell. So I don't need any more fans. All the fans that come there, I need them to drink and eat. And we try and entertain them. But it's not about winning. And I think as a fan, we have to understand that it's not always about winning. Now, as far as the Texans taking a break early, I think for them kind of regrouping to go have a strong next 11 games, it was important for them because they were struggling. I mean, sure, they had 2 victories, but those 2 victories were against who?
Baltimore, who was struggling, and
Tennessee.
Right. So next week, we'll see who they play against.
That's
And
right.
how they
Monday
do.
night.
they
Yeah.
play against Seattle.
Right. So they needed that break.
Yeah, timing is everything, and that could be a godsend, or it could be, as Godfrey said, it could come back to haunt him. We'll see how it goes. What's your comment on it, Phil?
Well, I mean, the NFL is a season that's treacherous for everybody. There's highs, there's lows, and you have to be able to come together as a team and really next man up. I've seen teams have as many as 10 and 15 people on the injured reserve. So nobody's gonna feel sorry for you. Nobody's gonna come and say, "Hey, we're gonna help you out." They try to beat your brains out. So what you've done in mini camp, training camp, preseason prepares you for the regular season, and therefore you have to have a strong constitution from the coach, from the ownership, from the train. I mean, everybody got to be plugged in. And that's the way you come together and win champions. Look at the Chiefs. They getting players back and they were struggling, but they were never out of it. And
Right.
you knew once they get everybody back, which Rashid comes back, Rice comes back this week. They got the little guy from Texas when he got hurt first game. And they slowly worked everybody back in. So as old Hank Schramm would say, they matriculating that ball down the field now.
Right.
And you got Mahomes, so you always got a
Well,
chance.
you got the best quarterback in the game, yeah.
Now you're 3-3, and it's a whole new ball game. So
Whole new
They
ball
only
game.
won one game
see.
out. They only one game
Yeah.
out in first place.
So, guys, what we like to do is we like to give our predictions on we 6 games in now, so we should be able to come up and make some predictions on how the conferences are going to end up. First of all, I'm gonna deal with the AFC South where the Texans are. I still think Indiana is probably going to win. They got a strong team. They're playing strong. But the Texans are going to make the playoffs, I believe. So that's the Texans and Indiana in that division. Kansas City's probably going to be the only team over there, unless the Chargers or Denver make it as a wild card. New England is going to probably come out of that conference with Buffalo. Buffalo's been kind of pulling back. I think New England is probably going to win that division, or they're going to be right there with Buffalo. And then Pittsburgh is going to be the only team, even though they lost yesterday, Pittsburgh probably is going to be the only team. I don't see Baltimore coming back in that division, and the other teams are still too weak. So that's the way I see the East coming. But if I had to choose who's going to be in the Super Bowl out of the East, I would still say it's probably going to be, I'm going to say Buffalo. Even if they got to come in as the wild card team, I think this is going to be their year. And I'm just going to choose the team I think in the NFC, which is going to be Tampa Bay. I think they have a strong team, and Baker Mayfield is a good leader, and I think they're going to come through. I saw some deficits in Philadelphia when they played against the Giants. However, this is the NFL, and any team can beat you on any Sunday. And so you go by their negative tradition and all of that stuff, you'll get beat just like Philadelphia did. So that's the way I see it. Phil, you want to make a comment on that?
Well, guys, I'm not gonna go through all of the divisions. I'm just gonna say when the dust settles, I see Kansas City and I see Detroit in the end run of everything. That's just what I think from what I'm seeing right now. Detroit had a lot of people on injury reserve. That's one of those teams I was speaking of in reference to how they have injuries that just kind of slowed their throttle. But when those guys come back, it's going to be tough to deal with, and they're getting people back slowly, just like Kansas City did. And from what I've seen thus far in a small sample of the season, I like those two teams.
All right. Godfrey, what are your teams that you think going to be there at the end?
I think that no matter how the Chiefs start the season and no matter how the season is going midway, I think they'll find a way to get to the playoffs. They're not really, I hate to say, not really interested in the regular season. I hate to say it that way, but I think that they put enough energy into the regular season so that they can be prepared for the playoff runs. And I think that they'll be there as usual. Now, my pick against the Chiefs might be a little ominous for some people, but I still think that the Eagles are going to be available. One of the reasons why I picked the Eagles is because the Eagles' way to win a game doesn't necessarily depend upon how brilliant their quarterback play is. He usually plays to such a degree that he doesn't do the major things in turning the ball over and doing things that will hurt the team's chances. And they got the offense set up around the fact we don't need you to throw for 300 yards. We know he can. We don't need you to have 100 yards rushing, even though we know he can break out of the pocket and do some things like that. So I still think that it's a long season, obviously, and of course, the timing of the breaks are going to be significant. But I think that the Chiefs play more or less a long haul type football. And I think that the Eagles, as it gets to the end, we'll start to see them rise. And so these are my two teams for the finals.
And you can't never discount somebody with Saquon Barkley and his ability to run. Let me introduce brother Adonnis Alexander. Have you been hearing what we're talking about football?
Oh yeah, I've been listening.
All right. Well, what is your comment on what you believe is going on in football, Texans, Cowboys, or whomever you would like to talk about?
I think it's interesting because now the season is 18 games long, so it's not before where you kind of run out of time early. But what we've seen the last couple seasons is it's generally been the same teams in the playoffs the last two seasons when the dust kind of clears. You in the AFC, you'd always have KC, Texans, Baltimore, and Buffalo. I do think that the deficit Baltimore is in maybe a little too much for them to overcome. I haven't really looked at their schedule, but that's a big hole to come. If they make it in, they're going to sneak in, but there might be a chance for another team to enter into that mix by the end of the season, and that may be Indianapolis. I'm not sure who that's going to be, but I will say this: the Texans they're always kind of been kind of like that dark horse, and I'm not saying that just because I'm from Houston and I'm a homer, but generally when teams start off a little slow, they give themselves an opportunity to finish strong when it matters the most. But those teams like Indianapolis, especially with a quarterback like Mac Jones, they starting off strong. I'm not buying into it also early. I think they are good, but I think it's a long season. I want to see how they're doing toward the end of the season. And I think teams like Indianapolis kind of come back down to earth before it's all said and done. And teams like the Texans, who now have a few years of playoff experience, kind of rise to the occasion when it counts the most as well. So I'm looking for there to be the same teams when the dust settles at the end,
with the exception of maybe one team that replaces Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting every Sunday, every week. And now you got a game on almost every day. You got Thursday, Monday, Sunday night. You got a game almost every day. So if you like football, if you like sports, you got something to look at. You get a chance to look at the games, Darryl?
I do.
Okay.
I'm not making a commercial, but I have UZZO, and I get access to all the games.
Okay. Okay.
And it's like a hidden secret. I mean, every sport, baseball, football, every sport, golf, everything. It's hidden secret. Not that expensive either. I'm going to agree with Godfrey. It's going to be the Eagles and it's going to be Kansas City. Because the thing about those two teams, good coaching, good ownership, great players, and they're making adjustments. You know, to me, the way Philadelphia was winning those first couple of games, where every game it was something different. It might be running, it might be passing, might be Jalen running. They just make adjustments. Now, let's say, for example, somebody talked about Indianapolis. I think Daniel Jones kind of new on the scene as far as, you know, been around for a while, but doing well now. But once the teams make adjustments, Indianapolis won't be doing as well. But I think that now, to me, the dark horse is Detroit. I think they have great coaching. Sure, they lost their offense coordinator and a defense coordinator. So they got to make those adjustments. Once they get over that, Detroit could be a dark horse. I want to believe in the Texans.
I would like to believe in the Texans also. And I think, you know, if you go by history, you go by precedent, you go by just hope. Got to be sometime before the Rockets, won the championship. We always said, hey, will they ever be able to do it? And then they did it. So maybe this is that year. And, you know, but Kansas City, New England, they built that tradition. And Kansas City is maintaining now. Jeff, finish us up in the area of football, NFL.
Well, I'm right now. I'm looking at New England. New England's really impressing me. I really did not think that New England would be sitting at 4-2 at this point, tied with Buffalo. So I'm really surprised with New England. Pittsburgh is sitting at 4-2. They're about where I thought they would be. Baltimore sitting at 1-5. I never would have thought that was possible. I like the Colts. I just hate that they're in our division because they're going to be a huge adversary for us moving on throughout this season, sitting at 5-1. We're sitting at 2.5 games behind them. So I really like what the Colts are doing. I like their defense. I think KC is finally getting it together. They were 1-3. They won 2 consecutive. They're sitting at 3-3. I think they're going to hit their groove. So and then over in the NFC, you got Philly, who've lost 2 straight, now sitting at 4-2. And Washington is only 1 game back. And don't discount Dallas. Now Dallas is only 1 game behind them in the loss column. So don't discount the Cowboys, man. The Cowboys still got a chance now. The Green Bay and Detroit, that's going to be a dog fight over in the North with them in Detroit and Minnesota and Chicago. All those teams got winning records in that division. All of them. Chicago Minnesota's tied for last at 3-2. And so then you got Tampa Bay sitting at 5-1. I'm really impressed with Tampa Bay sitting at 5-1. And then
I was very surprised and encouraged by Tampa Bay and the way that they play. And Todd Bowles is doing a good job.
And in the West, you got San Francisco, Seattle, and the Rams all tied for first place at 4-2. That's going to be a dog fight. So as far as who I think will be in the Super Bowl, I'm going to go with it's hard to count out KC. It's just hard to count them out. I'm going to go with KC, and I'm going to go with a new team. I'm going to go with a team who haven't been there. I'm going to go with KC, and I'm going to go with Green Bay. I'm going to go with KC and Green Bay. Yeah.
Okay. Green Bay with Jordan Love at quarterback. We'll see. They got to get out of that black and blue division with Minnesota, Detroit, and Chicago, and we'll see what is going to happen. But every week is interesting, and 17-game season, and it's a dogfight. And at the end, They have earned it. So we'll see what's going to happen. Hey, we got anybody that pays attention to the National Baseball League, the MLB, who is going to be in the World Series? I know we don't keep up as much because the Astros are not in the playoffs this year. That's something we could talk about. But, you know, I thought they was gradually not going to be as good because Dusty Baker is not the coach. I mean, he just got that little bit more experience, even though the fans in Houston, you know, got on his case a little bit too much. I don't know if they would have got on somebody else's case. But Phil, what you think about that?
I think it's the ownership more so than the fans and the players and everybody. As Dusty's a beloved Major League Baseball manager, player, and just icon. So what happened there was he probably wanted a little more in front office. He probably didn't want to be on the field, and they didn't offer him. So you know how many teams took him up? I think he's had 2 or 3 jobs in Major League Baseball since he left Houston. So it's not like he was not needed or wanted anywhere. But the Astros are an organization that needs to do a little restructuring. You know, Dana Brown got some work to do. They're not far off. But right now, I think the Blue Jays and the Dodgers, with the Dodgers are 3-0. So they very seldom anybody going to blow a 3-0 lead. And the Blue Jays or the Mariners, either one are going to give them a good little run for their money. But the thing in baseball always has been good pitching stops good hitting. So whoever got the best pitching gonna stop their good hitting.
So you're saying it's gonna be the Blue Jays and the Dodgers in the World Series?
That's just what I'm saying right now. I mean, that series is still 2-2 over there with Seattle and the Blue Jays. I just like the Blue Jays because they got Vlad Guerrero Jr. I want to see him get there. And the Mariners have never been to the World Series, so I wouldn't be adverse to them making it either. So anybody but the Dodgers, but that's what it looks like it's gonna win. That's my point.
All right, Donnie, you have a comment on baseball?
It's been fun to watch. Seeing Seattle and Toronto there particularly has been I think it's been good to see someone else there and to see the passion with their fans and the players. I think I saw Scherzer get a real good didn't come out of the game and got a good out to get one of those innings yesterday. So it looks like baseball is in a good place. The passion is there. I'm optimistic about the Astros because they. I'm not really sold on Espada. I think the owner is amazing. I'm not totally sold on Dana Brown. I have to
GM.
I know he has the accolades, but the previous general manager, if I'm not mistaken, is the one in charge of operations in Toronto, and they just so happen to be in the ALCS. Mm-hmm. Like I'm looking at that, and I'm saying to myself, what's happening? What's happening there? But I do think that the owner is a baseball guy. And he's shown that eventually he will get it right, even if he does make some mistakes. And it's not that Dana is incompetent. He is good. But where are the Braves now? And where are the Blue Jays is what I'm looking at. And
understood. And every team can't make it every year. We would like that. I mean, we got used to that here in Houston, that the Astros were up there every year, but I mean, just the law of averages, you can't do it every year. Anybody else got another comment about the Astros or baseball?
Yeah, I wanted to say that, in sports in general, you have to have a winning attitude. So a winning position on the field really starts, I say, in the locker room. And I know the Dodgers are strong with that type of attitude. So and plus they have a couple of players that I like. I like Betts, and so I just think that their attitude toward winning is a little bit different, and I think it'll propel them to the win.
Okay, and anybody got anything different besides the Blue Jays and the Dodgers in the World Series? I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with it. Once the Astros are out, my attention kind of fades. I don't know when the last time I done watched the baseball game, I think is when we all went to the game ourselves as fans. So I'm not up on it. Jeff, go ahead.
Right now, like I say, Seattle and Toronto is 2-2, so that's an anybody series. Anybody can win that. It's just a matter of who's hot over the next 2 to 3 games. So I'm gonna go with Toronto over Seattle. I think Seattle lack of experience, playoff experience, could come back to hunt them. So I'm gonna go with Toronto. So I'm like Phil. I'm gonna go with the Toronto versus Dodgers, and then I'm gonna go with the Dodgers winning it. The Dodgers right now, they're just sweeping right through. They're just sweeping Milwaukee, just sweeping. I think they're gonna sweep them. I think it's gonna be 4-0 right there. So they're gonna sit. They can be able to sit back and wait, and then wait for the other series to play out. So right now I'm gonna go with the Dodgers. Dodgers, Toronto, and the Dodgers go ahead and win the championship. That's what I got.
All right. Well, in college football, they've had some firings and different things like that. For me, it's still not like it used to be back in the days when you had the ratings. Everybody paid attention. I don't even know who's in the top 5, top 10 anymore. But it used to be where you always knew Alabama, Ohio State, across the board, University of Miami, all those colleges were up there and everything was organized. Now you got colleges that used to be in the Big South are now in the Big East, and I can't keep up with it, so I don't know. Anybody want to talk about the state of college football?
Paul, they still up there. You say Ohio State #1, and then Miami they mention those 2 teams. That's 1 and 2. They 1 and 2, so they still up there. So another.
All right. Let's go with Adonnis. You have a comment?
Yeah, I've been waiting for this day. I didn't think it would come, but it's about time to start considering that the power in Texas football is the Texas A&M Aggies. The way they went down to Notre Dame and got some get back on the road. I took a little notice of that, but now they really put together a nice group of wins. I think they're up to number 4, if I'm not mistaken, 4 or 5.
4.
And they're looking very strong, and I think that's really important because Texas A&M has had years of recruiting classes in the top 10, and only for it to blunder during the season. And for the first time, their top recruiting class looks like it's actually doing something. And I think everybody needs to watch out for that, because there may be a national title in Texas this year.
I mean, one or the other, Texas or Texas A&M, they put so much money behind their program, they should be up there all the time. And Jeff, what is the top 5 in college football?
You have Ohio State at 6-0, they rank 1. Miami at 5-0, ranked 2. You got Indiana 6-0, ranked 3. Texas A&M ranked 4 at 6-0. You have Mississippi ranked 5 at 6-0. And then you have Alabama is ranked 6. They sit at 5-1. Texas Tech is ranked 7th at 6-0.
Texas
and
Tech?
Then you have Texas, Texas Tech, 6-0, ranked 7th.
Okay.
And then you have Texas ranked 21st. They're sitting at 4-2, University of Texas.
Okay. Well, I mean, it almost like it used to be back in the day when all the big name schools were up there and managed everything. It just seems different. That's just me. It's not as, unless you are alumni of that school or a proponent of that particular university, it just seems like it's not the same. But, Texas A&M and College Station, they do have the resources behind them, so they should be up there competing and should be able to do very, very well. So we look forward to, when it gets down to the national championship, it becomes interesting, at least for me. So I'm looking forward to that time. Now I want to talk about basketball, NBA, WNBA also. One question I had is Aja Wilson the best of all time as far as the WNBA? Some would say, going back to Cynthia Cooper, maybe Lisa Leslie, Candace Parker, Maya Moore, many others, but I don't know if anybody has won 4 out of 5 championships and 4 MVPs in a row. So she's making a case for it. Anybody want to comment on that? Phil, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I would say she's the greatest of her era and the greatest today. You know, people tend to, and I've had this conversation with a lot of people. I just can't buy some one person is greater than all the other players who's ever played in most cases. But you can't deny what she's done and what she's doing. Now, the Comets won 4 championships in a row. They've won 3 out of 4. But at the same time, she's dominating and showing her greatness. That's not even a question. But I will say this, the WNBA is coming on. Every time we talk about it, I don't see the regression that other people see. I see progress. And it's better players coming on. And I'm going to say it again, and I've said it many times before. Juju's coming. When she gets there, people are going to see a real good female basketball player besides what you already have. And I'm sure there's somebody behind her. So the WNBA is where it ought to be right about now. And I'm so happy for you know, the Vegas Aces, because they started out just like we mentioned, and it's been said on this show tonight. When you start out bad, you can go up. And that's what they did. They caught fire. I mean, that was, hey, they did something that was almost insurmountable from where they started, but their tradition and their culture let them know we had the same coach, we got some of the same play. And when they traded Kelsey Plum, I thought that was a mistake. But their bench stepped up, and Kelsey went on and did her thing in LA, but she's not wearing a ring this year. I know she'd rather be in Las Vegas, but that's the nature of sports. You just have to keep plugging away with whatever a card and hands you're dealt with.
Most definitely, most definitely. What's your comment on that, Darryl? Do you watch WNBA?
I keep up with WNBA.
One of the best or the best of all time?
I think, you know, comparing people all time, you do have to say the era. And so she is the best in her era. And she has a great supporting cast too. And to me, you have to, in a team sport, you got to talk about the team. It's like, sure, you can have stars, but you got to talk about the team. Let's say, for example, I was amazed at the Fever and how well they did, how their players stepped up without a Caitlin. And so what happens next year when Caitlin comes back? And so the team is really very important. Just, I mean, especially with ladies sports, you're going to have the best of the best that play in the WNBA. But it's, if you've been a star in college on a losing team and you don't have the winning attitude that I think Godfrey talked about earlier, then that just hurts. And if you have a coach that doesn't necessarily have a winning attitude, then that just hurts. And of course, ownership. So winning attitudes, winning players, a winning team is the answer for all of it.
It would be good if we could have another WNBA team here in Houston. There was talk about the Comets coming back. I think that has fizzled out, but it is getting more interesting. And the more named players coming in, like Juju, Paige Booker, she was the Rookie of the Year this year. So yeah, as you get to know these names and they get more popularity, and Angel Reese is just going crazy out there with her endorsements and everything. And but she can play. If she couldn't play, I don't think she would be getting this attention. What do you say about the WNBA, Adonnis?
I think it's in a good place. I also was looking at the Fever without Caitlin, and I do think Aja is great. So over the years, I haven't really, I kind of dismissed the whole greatest of all time debate, because what I realize is, the way I say it is, you have a certain tier of play. You have a first tier, you have a second tier, you have a third tier. And in that first tier, you know, you may have guys in there or women in there that have different accomplishments, team accomplishments, but they're on the same level of a player. Like, for example, in the NBA, my first tier would have Akeem and Jordan in that tier, even though they have different amount of championships. You just have a certain tier player, but they're good in their own ways. So to me, it's not about who's the greatest or this is the guy. It's more like what level are they on, that first level, second level, third level, and on down. And I think that's the realistic way to kind of judge it all.
Yeah, I agree with you in that context. That's why I always have a problem with the top 75 that they chose. And, to take somebody out like Bernard King and put in Carmelo Anthony, I just really had a problem with that. And I could argue that for days, but, we ain't got enough time to do that right now. Godfrey, what you got to say about women's basketball across the board, or who's the greatest of all time?
I'm laughing because Bernard, I came along during Bernard King's play, and I still say today, Bernard King is one of the top 5 players to ever play the game, barring his injury. He could score. He knew how to, play basketball. But the whole idea of the GOAT situation, and this is not just for the WNBA, but I think it's for all sports. The timing of when a person is in the league, their coaching staff, their player, their teammates. I think it's too many variables for us to just concentrate on one person being the GOAT. The WNBA has had some very, very dynamic female players, obviously. Cynthia Cooper just happens to be my favorite because as long as she was on the floor, and you remember she wasn't fast, she didn't have what we would consider now great ball handling skills, but as long as she was on the floor, she somewhat intimidated how you were going to defend them. Even if she wasn't doing her high-powered scoring, you still had to, keep in mind that she was on the floor. So I think that Asia is a great player. Obviously, she has so many accolades and she has won so many awards. I think that she is just the great player now in a long line of other greats. And that's how I look at it. I know people argue between LeBron and Jordan, but I think there are really too many variables. Who were your teammates at the time? How were your teammates playing? How many injuries you had as a team? It's just too many variables for everyone to just come together and say, hey, he's the greatest of all time, or she's the greatest of all time, because there are too many things that happening that can affect whether or not a person can be considered the greatest of all time. Now, I do like Asia. I like her attitude. I like the fact that she believes she can dominate. And we have several people like that in the WNBA, Angel Reese being one of them. Her confidence level is obviously beyond the roof, so to speak. So we have in the a lot of players that are really, really good that I believe that are going to come into their own, so to speak. So although I like Asia, I don't think that we can consider her the greatest of all time in women's basketball, but I do consider her one of the greats.
Sounds great. We're going to get into the NBA now. Jeff, give a projection of what you think the Rockets are going to do and who's going to be the surprises of the league and who may be some of the disappointments.
Basically, after watching the Rockets this preseason, I was very impressed. Even though they didn't have to play their key players major minutes, they were still able to go through the preseason unblemished, 4-0. They really show that this team has an outstanding starting unit, an outstanding second unit, as well as an outstanding third unit. They played last night without their top 8 players, and they still blew out Atlanta on the road. I was very impressed with Josh Okogie. I know you guys have probably never heard that name, but last night that guy had 28 points. They signed him to a league minimum deal this summer. And that guy's 6'4", but he has the wingspan of a guy 7 feet. I saw this guy guarding a center last night underneath the basket, and the center went up for the shot, and he blocked it. The 6'4" guard blocked the shot of the 7-footer. This guy is amazing. I like what Reed Shepherd did last night. Reed Shepherd scored 29 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. That was the best I've ever seen Reed play. I like what I saw out of Isaiah Crawford. Jeff Green looked good last night. Jeff Green is 39 years old, and he's still doing it. He had 16 and 8 last night. J.D. Davison. I talked to you guys a few weeks ago about J.D. Davison. They signed him as one of the last guys they signed this summer. He had 14 points last night. Oh, he looked really good. So this team, they are so deep, man. First, second, and third unit. So the key with the Rockets is going to be whether or not they can keep everybody healthy. But even if they don't, they still going to be good. But the key is keeping the key players healthy. I have the Rockets. This is my prediction. I have OKC winning the West as far as the regular season, at least, with 64 wins. I have Houston at number 2 with 57 wins, Denver at 56, and the Clippers at the 4th seed at 52 wins. That's how I have the West. I have the East. I have Orlando. That's my new team. I think Orlando Magic's going to be good this year. I really think they're going to be really good this year. I got Orlando as my
good
number
last
1.
year.
Yeah. Well, they're going to be even better this season. Then I got Cleveland, number 2 seed at 55 wins, Orlando 57 wins. I have the Knicks at 54 wins at the 3rd seed, and I have Milwaukee at the 4th seed with 52 wins. That's why I have the top 4 seeds in both conferences. But I really like what I saw of the Rockets. KD is not going to have to average 30 points a game to this team. He could average 20. As long as it's an efficient 20 points a game, that's going to be good enough because he has so much help. Armand Thompson is getting better and better. That jump shot is getting better and better. Jabari Smith is getting better and better. Tari Eason came off the bench, scored 20 points in 21 minutes. That guy is a stud. This team's going to get better and better because these guys are 22, 23 years old. Reed Shepherd is, 20? So these guys are young. So they're going to continue to get better and better. So the sky's the limit for this team.
I agree with you. I don't necessarily agree with your order of how they're going to come out in the East and the West. Close in the West, but I got OKC, Houston, Denver, and then the Lakers or Dallas. Lakers 4, Dallas 5, especially regular season. In the East, the Knicks first, Milwaukee second, Orlando third, then maybe Detroit. So that's the difference I have. Donnie, what you say about the Rockets or a prediction in NBA basketball? Donnie, you are on mute.
Sorry. Yeah, what I don't understand when it comes to because I do have Rockets and OKC at the top of the West. What I don't feel like I get heard talked about enough is we saw a healthy OKC and Houston team play last year, and saw OKC drop 2 games to the Rockets last year.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, like they're trying to size this up. Like, did y'all not see them lose to the Rockets last year? And I think that the loss that the Rockets took in the playoffs to the Warriors in 7 games, which I also feel like they're the reason why they lost the next series to Minnesota because they didn't have anything left because they used everything they had to beat that Rockets team. Yeah. But I think because they lost that series last year, a lot of people feel like the Rockets aren't as good as they already was. And so I feel like it is a chance that they may actually finish 1 in the West because they were right there with OKC last year without KD. And they actually played them very, very well head to head.
Yeah, I agree with you. Anything can happen with the Rockets with the lineup that they have. If they can mesh that lineup together at the right time and the timing be just right, hey, they could overtake OKC and they could end up in the championship. Darryl, you have a comment about basketball, NBA?
I believe in the Rockets this year. Somebody made a comment about KD not having to score as much, and I think that's great. So what you take advantage of is his experience and his calmness to keep the team going with the young guys. So I think the Rockets have a great chance.
Sound great. In the East, as I said, New York, Milwaukee, Orlando, then Detroit. Detroit was coming up last year and they were doing good. Godfrey, you have a comment about NBA basketball?
Yes, I do like the Rockets team. I do. And I think adding KD has the potential to, take them to the next level. But one of the things that a team has to deal with by adding KD to the squad, of course, we all know KD is going to give you 25 pretty much a night. He's a every night type player, and he's going to average somewhere between 25 and 30. I don't think he needs to with the Rockets, but we can assume that he's going to be one of the top scorers. But I think that the issue with adding KD to any team is how well the rest of the team would do some of the other things. Because although KD is a good scorer, he doesn't bring much to the table in terms of rebounds, in terms of block shots, and other defensive efforts. I can't remember KD being on first or second all defensive team. And I think that a team choosing to have KD on their roster is really a good thing. But at the same time, it's asking you to have your other players to commit to doing some other things at a higher level, namely rebounding, namely defending other players. Because you know that having KD also means that he has to have the ball a certain amount of times. One of the things that he was frustrated with when he was playing with Golden State was that he felt like he wasn't the number one option. And, so I can respect him on that. Everybody believes they should be the number one option. But that was one of the issues with him. And so having him on the team is a good thing. And obviously the Rockets are, I believe, going to be one of the teams that OKC would have to really, really play hard against. And I really think it's out of those two teams to actually come out of the West. But I think the key factor is, can the rest of the squad make up for the team in areas that KD is not so good in?
I hear you. I think the Rockets are primed to be able to do all of that. And I think the key is not just him being able to shoot, but him being able to pass. I think they're going to want him to do a little passing, be a decoy option that teams are going to try to load up on and make sure about the defense. But if he could throw that ball into Shagun, maybe Steven Adams, and Amen Thompson cutting to the bucket, you'll see some unstoppable kinds of things. Right here, I want to make sure that we give a shout out to our sponsor. Phil, please give us a sponsor word.
Okay, guys. As you all know, A-Rocket Moving and Storage is a well-established moving company in the city and state of Texas, city of Houston and state of Texas. The company's been around since 1959. It is now a second-generation owner by somebody we're all familiar with, DeAndre Sam. And we're located 3401 Quarter in the heart of Third Ward off of 288 in Yellowstone. We do full service moving, inner office, intrastate, residential, commercial. You give it an idea that you want to move, give us a call. We have 62,000 square foot storage, climate control, 55,000 square foot storage as well. We have a fleet of 27 trucks and vans. We can take it anywhere you want it to go. If you call it, we can haul it. And again, A-Rocket Moving and Storage, 3401 Quarter, 713-748-6024. Let them know you heard about it on this show. Maybe have a little discount for you. Ask for Philip Green or DeAndre Sam. see what we can do for you. And we're a proud sponsor of this particular talk show for many reasons, because the topics are good, the people are good. And anybody else out there who would like to become a sponsor and be a part of what we're doing here, give Carl a call, give me a call, give Jeff a call, and we'll get you roped in so we can have a little advertisement with you and be a part of what we're doing here.
Powerful, powerful.
That's
And
good.
I'll vouch for A Rocket. I use them. They move my daughter, and anybody know about moving a 20-year-old, it's a whole lot of stuff. And they worked it out, and they had her smiling. So she was smiling, I was smiling. So thank you, A Rocket. And we thank you. And our sports show, we're toward the end, but I want to remind you that we have this show every 2 weeks, Sunday Fireside Sportstake with Jeff Walker, every 2 weeks. We also have a Facebook site where we talk about sports all the time. We also have Sports Legends Southwest once a month on Wednesdays, once a month. And so we try to have some of the top players in their sport. As Jeff mentioned, Michael Young, we've had Ralph Cooper on here, and we've tried to have some of the top sports people that are out there. And we want to talk about any and everything, like we talked about golf, we talk about tennis, we talk about sports, period. And so if you want to have a conversation about sports, come talk to us, and we will share, or we'll find out about that sport, and we'll bring it back to the table. So we thank you very much. And out there in Facebook land, on online land, we thank you. We want to hear from you also. Mr. President, Jeff, our final word.
I just want to say congratulations to Becky Hammon and the Las Vegas Aces for winning their third championship in the last 4 years, and my girl Asia Wilson. She's my favorite WNBA player. It used to be Reese, but now Reese is more into all that other stuff now. Asia Wilson is playing basketball, winning basketball. So, hey, she averaged 29 points a game and 12 rebounds a game in the finals. So who can do that? Who can give you 29 and 12? 29 points and 12 rebounds. So congratulations to Becky Hammon and to Asia Wilson, as well as to the Las Vegas Aces. Outstanding job.
All right. Well, we thank you, and we thank our guests, Brother Adonnis, Darrly Malloy, go way back. John Godfrey, we thank you very much, and we hope that you check us out and see what we're doing all the time. Make sure you come on Facebook, join us, give a comment, and we thank you. And everybody out there, Sunny Fireside Sportstake is at the heart of sports. Come join us, check us out, and see what's happening. And we thank you. We'll see you next time.